The first visualization technique in the exploration section that we are going to talk about is a freeform. You can find freeform by going to the exploration section and selecting the freeform from the technique dropdown. Within the freeform, we have 6 different visualization techniques that we can use. So first of all, we have a table, then we have donut chart, we have line chart, we have a scatter plot, we have a bar chart, and we have geomap to visualize geographical information. We can add a segment to the visualization. I will show you how to do that a little bit later. And in this particular case, since we have a table selected, we can choose what will be displayed in our rows, what will be the dimension that we are going to work with, and what will be in a column. So we can build also a pivot table. And what would be the values in this case, what would be the metric of that table. So let's start with something simple. So let's add a dimension to this table. To do that, we need to add a dimension in this section over here. So I'm going to add event name, import, and then as a metric, we are going to add event count, import as well. And now you can either drag and drop it to the rows section, or you can just click on the values or row section and it will offer you whatever you have available. So in this case, event count. And there we have our table. So as our dimension, we have an event name, and then metric is event count. So how many times that particular event happened in selected time period. We can add also a secondary dimension. So let's add a date. And we can add it to the row. And let's move it around. And now we have a date also with combination with the event name in our table. You can also choose to nest rows. So in this case, all the events for a particular date will be grouped into one group, as you can see here. And then you have a next day and another day, and all the events are then ordered by event count here. By default, it shows 10 rows, but you can extend this, to include more rows. We can also choose a cell type. So in this case, we are using bar chart, but we can also use a plain text, or we can use a heat map. And also in each visualization, we can filter data that we see. So by applying a filter, let's say we want to only include a page view event. And just like that, we have just a page view event by the date that they happened. You can also drag your secondary dimension to the column, and then you will create a pivot table. And yeah, that's about it. So you can just create your own custom tables. In this case, you can add multiple dimensions, multiple metrics, and use filtering if you need it. Cool. Next visualization technique is a pie chart or donut chart in this case. So it will just show the percentage of certain dimensions of the whole. I'm not really a big fan of it. So let's go to the next one, which is line chart, which will show you the trend over time. So in this case, we are looking at event count by event name, but let's say we want to filter this to zoom in only on page views. So I will add a filter for event name that exactly matches page view. Apply. Now we see only page views. And as you can see, there was a huge spike on 13th of April, and GA4 also spotted an anomaly for that. So that's really nice feature about this timeline chart, that it has anomaly detection built in, where you can use these sliders to pretty much determine what kind of training data should be used. So how many days before this selected time period should be used to train on. And then also you can choose a sensitivity in which it will, detect those anomalies. So if you put sensitivity higher, you can see that we got anomalies over here as well. If I put it lower, those will be ignored, but only these 2 peaks will be detected as anomalies. You can actually use this anomaly detection in standard reports as well. And you can also build custom alerts based on them. You can also choose a granularity here. So if you choose longer time periods, you can also group that by weeks. So let's show that. If I select weeks and increase the time period a little bit for, let's say, 2 months. Now I don't see every single day in those 2 months, but it's aggregated on weeks. The next visualization technique is scatterplot. Scatterplot is really interesting if you want to find a relationship between 2 metrics. So in this case, on x-axis, we have active users, and on y-axis, we have event count. But this might be interesting, for example, for e-commerce, if you want to find a relationship between add to carts and purchases, or view detailed pages and add to carts, you can find like different outliers this way. Next visualization technique is a bar chart, which is quite straightforward. It will just show individual metrics per dimension as a bars. And then we have a geomap, which shows different geographical information, but you need to have enabled this in your GA4 property. Otherwise, you won't really see any data here at all. To all of these visualizations, you can add also segments. So let's do that. So I will create a new segment here. Let's do a session segment. Let's say paid search sessions. And I will do default session channel group contains paid search. Apply, save and apply. And then I can just drag and drop it to the visualization, or just clicking here and selecting from the list of the segments. So here we have only paid search sessions in this case. Let's add one more. Let's add organic as well. Now it's added and we can see the difference between paid search and organic sessions, and also we can see the totals in the far right. That's all from the freeform exploration. As you can see, it's really useful if you want to get better understanding of the data, creating simple tables or simple line charts. In the next video, I'm going to talk about the cohort exploration, which is another type of exploration in the exploration section.